Welcome back to SimZone, ladies and gentlemen, here for round 2 of the Friday Trackday Championship, and we are at Valencia, the new circuit here on ACC. We haven't been to this circuit at all. This is the first time in our season that we are at this circuit, and it is currently Savini on provisional pole, 130.667, and track is optimum. Temps are looking good as well, so this could be quite a good lap as he rounds the final corner. Savini could put it in the 129s here. I think he's just lost a tenth on the exit, but it's looking to be a 130.1 as he crosses the line. There we go, 130.115 from Savini. That's going to be a difficult time to beat here. Pagano currently P2. Now the Porsches and the Ferraris both very quick here at Valencia. The Mercedes is another good car here as well. And the Lamborghini, of course, has been buffed in the last patch, so we should see that further up the grid. But the BMW of Fischer currently down in P9, 1.3 seconds off. He is 4 tenths up at the moment, 5 tenths up at the moment. But of course, the BMW isn't that quick in compared to the other cars around here. Fischer came P1 last time out at Nürburgring. Had quite a battle with Savini, who's currently sat on pole now, but had quite a battle. Savini took pole last time around. Fischer got the undercut done at Nürburgring, and it worked a treat for him and ended up taking the race win. But this is probably going to be one of the worst rounds for the BMW. I think Fischer will, I mean, he will be finishing, he tried to finish as high as he can in this round, but I think see that bouncing over the curbs. I think he won't be too disappointed if he doesn't finish within a top 5 here in this race. But approaching now the final corner as he exits final corner here, 7 tenths up, and where's this going to put him as he crosses the line? Now this puts him in P4, so good improvement, matching lap times there with Sami Foch in P3 as he rounds the final corner. 2 seconds down though, so he wasn't on a lap this time round, but looks like he's got another Ferrari in front. I don't think they're going to be in his way. I'm not too sure. Still 8 minutes in this qualifying session to go. We've got Vining who's about to cross the line here, 6 tenths up. There we go, puts it into P10 there. Van den Heuvel in the BMW as well. Currently running in P13 though. Looking at P11 and P12, Mullard in and Megazi there, matching lap times, 131.430. I'm sure we're going to see that changing as the drivers do continue to improve. You can see there, Mullard used all that exit into turn 1. That is still within track limits. It is allowed there. You can pretty much go fully onto the green on the exit of turn 1. We've got, who else have we got here out on track? We've got Cosford, P17, currently 4 tenths up, but 2.5 seconds though off the provisional pole time set by Savini. And we've got quite a few comments coming in. We've got Kenny, good to see you, Lord Cloth as well. Steph Jake, good to see you as well. A few console drivers tuning in like always. We've got Veronica showing their support for Savini. There's a lot of support for Savini last time around as well. Let's see where Cosford will put this, 5 tenths up. Is it going to be just up 1 position there into P16? And I think he's going to return the car to the pits, probably get some fresh rubber on that car. Remember, the tyres pretty much last 3 laps before they start to drop off. First 3 laps is there where you get the optimal performance out of the tyres, and they slowly start to drop off after that. And there's no tyre set limit either for this championship, so they have the full 50 tyre sets at their disposal. I'm sure no one's going to be using all 50. It would be quite special to be using all 50. I have no idea what you'd be doing to be using all of them, but yeah, no, there's no reason anyone would be using the whole 50 tyre sets. Dave currently at P15, 3 tenths up. The McLaren's also been given a bit of a buff, so let's hope to see him a bit further up the grid here. This exit curb, quite bouncy. You can see there the McLaren all over the place there, but most of the curbs here are pretty flat at Valencia. Now, of course, it is a MotoGP track as well, so it has to be quite safe for the bikes too. But Dave crosses the line, jumps up one position. 1.3 seconds off that provisional pole time, still set by Savini. He's not on a valid lap at the moment. He, I believe, did invalidate that last time around. Yes, he did invalidate, but he's going to be trying to improve. Pagano currently in P2. A bit more diversity within the top 10 here at Valencia. We've got a few more manufacturers in there compared to the usual Ferraris we always see. But it's good to see Sealy in the Lamborghini there in P7. It's good to see Fischer once again up in the top 3. We've got a few Porsches in there as well, a couple Mercedes, and Mullard just outside the top 10 as well in the Audi, which you don't really see that often anymore either. Mullard is 1.2 seconds off his best lap time in 1:31.325, which he actually did last lap, but I believe this is an outlap for Mullard. So we'll see what he can do in the final 4 minutes of this quali session. Who else is up for an improvement? Let's see. Matt Pryor currently in P19, also in the Lamborghini. He had a change of heart from the Ferrari, and was probably a good change since the Ferrari got nerfed, but he seems to be struggling at the moment. 2.8 seconds off, down in P19 there in the Lamborghini. Not sure whether he's been able to... Oh, he's invalidated his lap as well. But I'm not sure if that's just a case of constantly invalidating, or he's struggling here at Valencia. I know the tyres do take a beating here at this track. It's quite a twisty circuit, and especially with the ambient and track temps being quite high, tyres definitely going to take much more of a beating than they would if it were slightly colder. Thomas currently P8 in this quali session, is 2/10 up on this lap, so if he does improve by 2/10, it could see him P5 maybe. I think he needs a bit more than just 2/10 to see him in P5. But let's see what he can do. Still, where is he on track? He is number 28 car. If I can find the number 28 car on track. Oh, it looks like he's lost a 10th there. He's only a 10th up now on his personal best. But he is, there we go, exiting the final corner now. And it is going to be an improvement, so he'll probably jump up 1 or 2 positions as he crosses the line. 2 positions there gained for Thomas, but Ivanov, where is Ivanov? Oh no, he was 3/10 up. And he's now invalidated his lap, so he's no longer up on his time. This will be a shame for Ivanov. He was about 3 or 4 tenths up, and that would have put him probably either P3 or P2 on the front row. And there we go, just going to move out the way for one of the drivers behind him who are on a valid lap. Cosford, once again, up on his time, is P17, 2 seconds off. If he's 3/10 up, this is probably going to put him around P15. Let's hope he can find some more time here. As Cosford, we usually see further up the grid, but Cosford and Vitboot, they're both teammates from Ballas Esports. Let's see, I believe we don't currently have their liveries on, but we'll see if we can get them on, or if they have been uploaded for the race. And there we go, Cosford's around the final corner. What's he going to do? Is he crosses the line now? It's 2/10 up. Where is that going to put him? It was a 1:31.920, so it wasn't actually enough. He still stays P17. Daniel Savini currently up on his time ever so slightly. It's less than a 10th that he's up on his time. Fischer 2/10 up though, and Ivanov once again, after invalidating his previous lap, he's got that 4/10 delta that he had previously, and he's now up for a good improvement. So this could be quite a good lap here from Ivanov. Will we see Savini be able to dip into the 129s? Now the fastest lap I think I've seen on Valencia, even in hot lap, is pretty much a 129. I think it was a 129.8. Can't quite remember, but it was into the 129. Savini extremely close to that at the moment. But the Porsche, like I said, very quick car here at at Valencia, and Ivanov there puts it into P2. What a lap there, and he's going to return the car to the pit, so that's his qualifying session over. Provisional P2 from Ivanov. Fischer rounds the final corner, a 10th up. He'll have one more chance to improve after this, but will he go for it? Looks like he is continuing, so he will go for it. It's his last chance to improve here. You see, using all of the curb on entry just to open up the corner. And let's see if we can go on board here with Fischer for the remainder of this lap. And gets to the left as soon as possible to break in a straight line and open up the corner using all the curb and the exit. Oh, bit of oversteer there for Fischer. But that hasn't put him down on his delta. I think he's still fairly even at the moment. And once again, using the full width of the track. Could have been slightly wider there, I think. But has to be aware of the track limits here. Now onto the brakes. Trading the brakes in. But to be quite deep on the brakes into this corner. And over to the left once again. As soon as possible to open yourself up for the right-hander onto the power. It looks like the top two into the pits, Pagano into the pits as well, so Fischer, pretty much everyone around him has pitted. Oh no, Fischer's invalidated his lap there, so he won't be improving this time around. Zach Doran, P8, currently a 10th up. This could put him into P7 ahead of Thomas, but a bit of a mistake there, so he's not going to improve by the looks of things. TractionDave P12 is also a 10th up. This is where a lot of drivers make that mistake of running too wide or making a mistake on the curb on the exit, because it is quite aggressive, that curb. Pretty much the only curb you have to worry about here at Valencia. But Dave, no, he's lost a bit of time out of the final corner, but that's pretty much it for this qualifying session. So Savini P1, Ivanov P2, and Pagano P3. We'll be back very shortly for the start of the race, so make sure to stick with us. Right, onto the formation lap then for round 2 here at Valencia. Now, coming into this round, of course, we saw Fischer taking the race win at Nürburgring, Savini P2 and Simon De Mori in P3. That's how it looks in the top 3 for the standings. We're going to get a quick grid walk as well while I take you through the rest of the championship standings. We'll do the top 10 in fact. So P4 we've got Witvut on 90 points there, Thomas in P5, Civilotti in P6, Foch in P7, Perry in P8, Ivanov in P9, and to round off the top 10, Vining there. And of course the points won't really matter since it was just the first round, so where everyone, well, where they finished would have been where they are in the championship standings. So obviously after round 2, that's where points really start to matter, because people will be moving up and down the order. And of course there is a drop round in this championship as well, so drivers drop their worst score, so basically 7 rounds only count towards the final championship standings. I've got a few comments coming in as well. We've got Jan saying P20 was all he could do. We've got Stuart, good to see you as well. We've got Cascanova, good to see you. Who else? Oh, we've got Dave Keane, and yeah, we've got quite a few people in the comments here. Good to see. Make sure you like the stream and sub if you're new as well. But we are lining up side by side now, I believe, approaching the final corner here, and we will pause this. There we go, running up side by side now. So Savini on pole, Ivanov P2. Who's going to get the jump into turn 1? It's quite a quick corner, turn 1. And remember, you can use all of that exit out of turn 1 as well. Savini off to a good start, pulls towards the optimal racing line here to take turn 1 perfectly, and Ivanov going side by side there with Fischer, but Fischer has to back out of that, slots in behind, and he's going to have to go defensive. Oh, we've got a Lamborghini off that. Sealy, I think, got a bit too much onto the curb, and he was into the barrier. Where did Sealy go? Oh no, he was into the barriers. I think he, oh no, he avoided them. He doesn't have any damage on the car, so you got lucky there, but that exit on turn 1, if you take a bit too much, can end quite badly there. So Sealy's dropped down the order. He's got plenty of time to make some positions back. Savini still P1, Ivanov P2. He's being hassled here by Fischer very early on in this race. You can see there Dave in the background, just a bit too loose on the curb, and Fischer looking for a move, but has to back out of it. Pagano very close behind him. Fischer needs to be careful not to open up the door here for Pagano. Foch there in P5, Thomas P6 just behind, Demori in P7, Zach Doran now having to fend off Magazi in P9, Vining still in P10, actually gained a position off the start, so did Magazi. You've got Van den Heuvel just behind him. The BMW, like I said before, was in the Lamborghini last season, so a change of manufacturer here for him. Dave keeping up now in P12, Ben Mullard just behind in P13, then P14, Cosford P15, he's gained 2 positions off the start, and Barton actually, P17, has gained 4 positions off the start, so he's gone upwards in this race. But back towards the race leader, Savini, already pulling away from the 2 behind him, while they're continuously battling hard here. Fischer trying to get past as soon as possible so he can hunt down Savini here, and surprisingly the BMW sticking with this pack. I definitely wouldn't expect it to, but Fischer doing a great job at the moment in that BMW, especially amongst the likes of the Ferrari and the Porsche, who have the superior BOP here. Although the Ferrari has been nerfed, it's still quite quick at Valencia nevertheless, and this train starting to pull away slightly from the rest of the field. It's pretty much P1 to P7 pulling away from the rest. You can see Thomas there just in the back, and Demori just in the back, pulling away a bit from Doran, who's got another battle to worry about. He's got Magazi behind him, followed by Vining, and these drivers have been separated from the rest as well. We've got two groups going on here. So we've got Vining P10 to I believe that is Patrick Den. Yes, Patrick Den in P14. Looks like Cosford and Vitbrook have caught back up as well. Then we've got another train going on here. We've got Kasinka. Oh, I've always messed this up. Kasinskas. It's Kasinkas. Kasinskas. I've messed this name up. I said it perfectly last season, and I can't say Kasinskas. There we go. I've got it. He's got another train here. He's got Matt Pryor behind him. Seems to be struggling in the Lamborghini quite a lot, so maybe the change of cars, not the best idea, but he's running really wide there on the exit. Did the Mercedes of Kasinskas. There we go, I've got it right now. Barton P19, Barth P20. It's a bit of a train here towards the back of the field. Toronen in P21 as well. Obviously moved from console a while back onto PlayStation, onto PC now. Cook in P22, and Sealy having to make his way back up the field. He's gained some time back though on the pack, so he'll be looking to make some moves now. And of course we still have this pit stop to go, which well, we'll see the drivers pitting in about 15 minutes. That's when the pit window does open. Usually no one really pits that early unless they've got damage. It's usually closer towards the halfway mark, but looking at Savini now, pulling away slightly. Ivanov sticking with him. Ivanov now with the fastest lap of the race, 1:30.975, and Fisher not able to stick with them now. He's lost a bit of time to Ivanov in front, and he's got to be careful. He's got a huge train behind him here. He's got Pagano, Bosch, who's got a great exit out the final corner. Is he going to look for a move into turn one? Turn one's not really a place to go for an overtake. It's quite a fast corner, but turn two probably a much better place to go for an overtake. If you can send it down the inside here, looks to have got a good exit. Is he going to have a look for a move? Thomas there looking towards the inside, but way too far back to go for anything there. Maybe trying to force Foch into an error, but Foch isn't really going to be looking behind him at this stage in the race. Thomas is not close enough to go for a move that far back. So Foch is going to be sticking, well, focusing on who's ahead of him. Garner and Fisher very, very close at the moment as well. So with these three battling, you can see the top two pulling away once again, and Ivanov is closing that gap lap after lap to Savini. Ivanov didn't have the best race last time out at Nürburgring. Just didn't seem to have the pace there, but here at Valencia he's much more suited to this track. Maybe the wet conditions caught him out a little bit at Nürburgring, but in the dry here he's definitely on it and challenging for the race lead. Let's see what's going on here. P13, looks like the two teammates, Cosford and Vitboot, both from Ballas Esports, going side by side here, and looks like that is Den trying to go around the outside of Mullard. He's not going to make that stick. Mullard closes the door, rightly so. And Patrick Den running that Red Kings Motorsport, and ready on livery, of course. Red Kings Motorsport and the SimZone have teamed up. That's why you've got our logo there on the roof, which can we see it from Helicam? Yeah, that's better. Now we can see it properly. But yeah, it is on the roof there of that car. But we've got quite a train here. It's Dave in P11, followed by Van den Heuvel P12, then Cosford P13, Vitroot P14, Mullard P15, and Den P16. Let's quickly go back to this battle for the lead. We'll bring this battle up as well on our secondary screen now, because there's so much going on throughout this race already that we can't afford. Oops, that we can't afford to miss this misclick there. But you saw nothing. Yeah, this is still going on strong, and I'm surprised that Dave is actually able to hold off those drivers behind. That McLaren buff is definitely needed here, and I think it's just giving him a bit more to work with in that McLaren to be able to fend off the likes of Van den Heuvel, Cosford, Vitvoet, Mullard, and all those drivers that are in that battle currently. And look how close Ivanov is now to the back of Savini, just 3/10 separating the two. Savini here in a bit of trouble early on. I thought he would run away with it, but at the moment not looking likely. Ivanov is keeping on the pressure to him, and they've still got that 1.6 second gap maybe even pulling away a bit more to that battle behind Fischer, Pagano, Foch, Thomas. Thomas, in fact, has lost some time to Foch in front. Thomas having to fend off Demori. In fact, Demori isn't even that close to Thomas. 8/10 separating those two. So, looking like this battle for the lead, or the battle for the podium, spacing out a bit more as the race continues. Someone already into the pits. Barton into the pits here. What's happened to Barton? Has he picked up damage on his car? No, I think it's either a drive-through or it's fuel. So shame for Barton there. Doesn't look like there was any contact. But it's still Savini and Ivanov. Now Savini and Ivanov start to battle quite hard again, which it doesn't look like Ivanov is trying to do at the moment. Maybe he's just thinking of sticking with Savini until they can pull a sufficient enough gap to the three behind, or the rest behind, and then start to battle, which is a smart move from Ivanov. But if they continue to battle closer towards the pit window maybe, or even after the pit window, Fischer, Pagano, Foch, Thomas, all those behind are going to catch up by quite a bit, especially with the nature of Valencia. If you're battling side by side through here, you lose a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time. If you're side by side, it is crazy how much time you lose here, because it's such a flowing circuit. If you don't link up the corners together properly, you can lose heaps of time here. But Ivanov just playing the patient game here, playing the waiting game, sticking with the race leader. And you never know, if you stick with the race leader long enough, you could just force them into an error, which is unlikely from Savini. We saw Fischer right at the back of him for the majority of the race last time out at Nürburgring, and well, he didn't make any mistakes there. The only mistake he made was pretty much in the pit stops, and Fischer got that undercut done, which worked really well for him. But on track, Savini doesn't seem to be making any mistakes. He's faultless at the moment, and last season, as soon as I'd say that, something would happen. The commentator's curse would strike, but this season there is no commentator's curse, or there hasn't been so far, let's say. So not much in terms of that. I hope I won't ruin anyone's races later on this season. But looking like we've got a battle going on for P21 here. Looks like Cook has just got the move done on Turonen, P21 and P22. We've got Sealy up into P18 already after losing the car into turn 1. It's up into P18 now. So we're looking to hunt down Kacinskas in a P17. Yes, I said it right again. Okay, I think we've got it nailed now. Looking at Patrick Den, still this big train going on. Den on the tail end of this battle, followed by Mullard just in front. Vitvoets there, losing a bit of time to his teammate Cosford now. Cosford sticking with Van den Heuvel, but they've lost sight of Dave here. Dave has pulled a 2-second gap to this back behind him, and in fact he's closing up towards Doran and Vining, who we saw going side by side a few laps ago. But let's go back to this battle for the lead, Savini and Ivanov. Now let's actually check if Barton did. Yeah, Barton did get a drive-through penalty, so that confirms our suspicions then. But what a shame there for Barton, picking up a drive-through penalty this early on. I'm sure he's going to be much more careful now for the remainder of this race, but it's still so easy to pick up another. And looking like Sealy already on the back of Kacinskas here. That 1.5-2 second gap has been closed down in just a few corners, and Sealy looking to really make some moves here. Is he going to have the inside line? No, it's a bit of oversteer for Sealy, I think. Didn't get the exit he needed, so he's not going to be close enough for a move into the next corner. Prior P19, nowhere near where he was compared to when he was in the Ferrari. Let's go to P5. Foch here, right at the back of Pagano still, but hasn't found a way past. They've been quite even on pace. Last time round, Foch was on a 131.0, and for Pagano it was a 131.8. Fischer in front of these two, it was a 130.997. Now the fastest lap being improved there. Ivanov a 130.542. The best lap from Savini was a 1:30.627, so very similar lap times between those two as well. But that last lap, Savini was 3/10 quicker than Ivanov, hence why the gap between those two has extended. And battle for the lead still not over yet. Any one of these top 10 even can still be involved in this battle for the lead. Looks like Van den Heuvel into the pits. He's got some damage there on the front of his BMW. I think what's going to happen there? He stopped in the pits. Oh, I think he's retired from the race as Van den Heuvel. Bit of a shame there for him, number 32. So there was some maybe contact, it seems like, in the race. Let's see if we can have a look what happened to Van den Heuvel. Oh no, I think he caught a bit of oversteer here. There was actually quite a fairly decent sized crash here. You can see they got a bit of oversteer on entry towards one of the corners, then going through this right-hander onto the brakes, gets the rear out. He went quite deep there, gets the rear out, gets tapped behind, and very close there. Continues, and then a bit of a rejoin there from Den, and there we go. Van den Heuvel into the wall. Not going to be happy with that one. Then I think it was just a chain reaction there that went on. A bit of dominoes, I think. But Van den Heuvel, unfortunately, retiring from the race. I reckon he could have continued with that one, but it's not going to be any points for him for this round. Foch still on the back of Pagano, hasn't found a way past. Looks like Cosford has just got past Mullard here. Mullard really wide on the exit of turn one. Flash of lights there from him. He's going to get the move down the inside. Oh, bit of contact between the two, and Mullard's lost the car. Has he lost it? Oh, bit of oversteer there from him. Something happened there into turn one that we weren't aware of. Flash of lights there from Mullard, so he wasn't happy with something. Whether that was Cosford forcing him slightly wide, I'm not sure. But he definitely wasn't happy with something over there. And in fact, they were side by side going in towards turn one, and looks like Cosford just ran him slightly wide there on the exit. You can see here coming towards turn one, they were side by side, and Cosford has the inside, takes the racing line as if Mullard wasn't there, and that's what the flash of the lights was for. But then goes for a move down to the inside. I think that looks a bit of a racing incident between the two into turn two, but turn one, Mullard's not going to be happy with. And Foch with a good exit there out of turn one, still just not enough to get past Pagano here. I think for Foch, he's just sticking with Pagano at the moment. He may want to get past, but like I said, if they start battling quite hard, they're going to lose time to Fisher in front, and they're going to lose time to Thomas behind them. So Thomas may be able to close that gap as well. But the undercut here is going to work extremely strong at Valencia. Make sure to like the stream, guys, if you are watching. Let's get this to at least 20 or 30. That would be much appreciated. But looking at this battle continuing between Cosford, who's lost a lot of time to his teammate Whitroot in P12, but Cosford, then Mullard, Seeley now involved in that battle. Looks like Pryor and Kosinskas also quite close out on the track at the moment. Let's go on board here with Foch. Going up towards turn two now. Looks like they've reeled in Ivanov, and Foch really late on the brakes there. You can hear the tyres screaming at him. I mean, he's lost time as a result, but these three, Fisher, Pagano and Foch, all reeling in. Ivanov, who's dropped off of Savini there. So Savini pulling away now. Whether that's the tyre wear, maybe Savini managing his tyres a bit more in the first stint, and or at least at the start of the race, and now Ivanov losing that time due to tyre wear. You could tell he was definitely pushing to keep up with Savini. And Mullard there looks like he's just got ahead of Den and Seeley. It looks like they've had some contact there as they've dropped back to Mullard, and Mullard now 1.8 seconds back to Cosford. Barton lost steering, so something with an issue with his wheel, unfortunately. So I believe he had a drive-through as well, and then had an issue with his wheel, I believe. So a shame, it's just not his day today, I don't think. Unfortunate. Thomas catching up to Foch now. Foch losing some time to Pagano up ahead. You see there Thomas right at the back now of Foch here. And we'll look back down to the battle for P15 very, very quickly. Then fending off Seeley now. These two definitely made a bit of contact, I think. I don't see any damage in the cards, but we did have reports. I think it was actually maybe Mullard. Let's have a look. Mullard P14 just out in front. But no, these two have definitely lost some time. En's lost some time to Mullard as well. So something's happened there. No, no, Seeley's lost the car by himself. All by himself there. And oh, bit of a dangerous rejoin there from Seeley. That was super close. I think he should have held the brakes there, but Pryor saw that one coming and avoided that just about. That was quite close there from him. Cook in P21 at the moment, catching up to Toronen there. These two quite even on pace as well. Chopping and changing positions actually. I remember Cook got past Toronen, but I think made a mistake a few laps ago, and then Toronen got back past. But back to this battle here we go. For P3 now, that gap is not 0.8. It looks to be much less than that. It definitely looks to be like 0.4 between these two. But maybe that's just because of where they are on the track. And Pryor with an early pit stop. Pit window is now open. Pryor pitting early. Maybe his pressure's all wrong. That's maybe why he's pitted quite early. So it is quite unusual to pit as soon as the pit window opens, unless, like I said earlier, you have damage. So you want to make use of the first set of tyres. You have. I mean, they'll last half an hour easily. But Cook's still on the back of Toronen. Garno's still on the back of Fisher. Both these cars bouncing there on that exit curb. But tyre wear here, like I said, really, really high at Valencia. Tyres definitely get a beating. Will we see any of these two pit? No, staying out on track there. And that's Pryor in the pit still. But he's been dropped off the tracks. He's got going now. And looks like Cook losing a bit of time now to Toronen P19 and P20. Mullard has caught back up to Cosford though, P13 and P14. So Cosford losing even more time to Mullard and Ritroot in front of him. The gap between Ritroot and Cosford now up to 7 seconds. And Mullard, let's have a look at this right in the back. He's going for a move. He's going to be on the outside of turn 1. Cosford on the inside this time around. Can Mullard go for maybe a switchback here? He's going to try it. No, it's not really a corner to go for a switchback. But looks towards the inside of turn 2. Just takes a peek there, but he's not going to commit to a move just yet. But he's definitely put on the pressure to Cosford. It seems like these Ferraris are struggling with their tyre wear at the moment. The Audi used to be quite uneven on tyre wear, but I think the Ferrari's not that great, especially now with a bit of damage that Cosford has, I believe on the front of the car? Yeah, on the front of the car. He's not going to be helping. He's going to have a bit more understeer, so the tyres are going to have to work harder than they would do. And looking at Pagano, right in the back of Fischer now, even closer than he was before. The gap showing 0.3 of a second. And Pagano into the pits. Interesting, so goes for an undercut here. But he's going to have to obviously put a bit more fuel in for his second stint. So he's going to be running heavier fuel at the start of his second stint. That leaves Foch now to try and catch up to Fischer. The gap between these two still 1.3 seconds. It's not over yet between any of these guys. Dave now into the pits as well. Let's have a look at this battle once again between Kosinskas and Seely. Seely, we saw, tried to get past Kosinskas, but made a bit of an error and lost the rear. But this time, can he get it done? Coming up towards turn one, he's got the slipstream of the AMG there. I don't think he's going to get it into turn one. He's got a good exit though. You can see he's got much more exit speed, and he's going to look towards the inside of turn two. Is he? Yeah, pulls towards the inside, has a look, but Kosinskas there closes the door, turns in early to get that door shut and stop any possibility of Seely getting past. Kosinskas looks like he's gelling much more with this AMG than he did in the Lexus, which he was in for last season. But Seely, after that incident in turn, well, not incident, after that, not even accident, after that spin he had, I believe it was error, or his own error, but after that, he's been struggling to get past. He's made another mistake, as we saw him spin, so the tyres wouldn't have liked that. Maybe even got flat spots due to that as well, but his tyres definitely not going to be working with him as well as they would have been at the start of the race. We've got Fischer and Magazzi now into the pits. The Fischer maybe pitting to cover off that undercut, but Seely really struggling to get past at the moment. He's looking towards the inside now, later on the brakes, and this could be it. Is Kosinskas going to try and get the switch back? He's got a better run onto the start-finish straight, and he's got the slipstream here of the Lamborghini as well. Looks like Seely's going to go, thinks about going defensive, but I don't think he needs to, and Kosinskas is going to have to back out of this, and there we go. Seely's got the job done, up a position. He goes, but remember, these two still have to pit, and let's see what else is going on throughout the field. So we've got Cosford and Mullard still on track. Where is Fischer, however? Fischer's out of the pits. Has he stayed ahead of Pagano? Yes, he has. In fact, he's opened a huge gap to Pagano. Pagano 6 seconds nearly behind. So Pagano, well, 5 seconds it's showing now. Pagano's lost loads of time in the pits, and that's not going to work well for him. He might even drop behind Bosch and maybe even Thomas after they serve their pit stops as well. We'll just have to wait and see what they do. There we go. Thomas now into the pits, so we can see where he comes out in comparison to Pagano. Back to this battle very quickly between Mullard and Den Kosinskas. Oh, he's lost the car onto the gravel, but he's back on now. Let's go back to this battle very quickly. So Mullard and Cosford had a bit of contact earlier on, but they seem to have settled down now ever so slightly. That rear of that Ferrari in front from Cosford seems to be slightly unstable. You can see it sort of slingshots round in the final corner. I'm not sure whether that's due to the damage and he's having to use the throttle more to get the rear round, to get the rotation done, because that damage on the front split is not going to help whatsoever. But Mullard's putting on the pressure here, just not really close enough to go for an overtake. Let's see, where is Thomas now? He's out on track. Has he come ahead? Oh, pit exit board has been knocked. That doesn't matter, but there we go. He has come out of the pits ahead of Pagano. Lord Perth saying, this track definitely giving me some MotoGP nostalgia. Yep. It is a lovely track, Valencia. And Deedee saying, nice move. Sealy, yeah, it was a good move there from Sealy. Savini, Ivanov, and Foch now all into the pits at the same time. So they've obviously followed each other through. Demori keeping out a bit longer. Vining staying out on track as well. But Thomas, 1.3 seconds ahead of Pagano. So even he's got that move down. Now, Foch was ahead of Thomas by a few tenths when they were battling. But Thomas went for the earlier pit stop. Let's see where Foch comes out. Will he come out in front or will he stay behind? We've got Turunen and Cook still battling for position. Looks like they've got some traffic as well. I think Fisher's just got past them actually, so Fisher's had to navigate his way through some traffic. But let's see, where is Savini? Savini's now out of the pits there. You can see, oh, side by side with one of the other cars. I think that is Barth, who's probably going to have to move out the way. Barth, there we go, moves out the way perfectly there. Foch, though, where is he? He is behind Fisher, and looks like that is Ivanov in front. So where is Thomas? Thomas is a bit further behind. Pagano's lost loads of time to these three in front. Ivanov, Fisher, and Foch. So Foch to come out in front, still behind Fisher. These three really, really close at the moment, and Fisher right on the back of Ivanov as we speak. But where is Savini? He's nowhere to be seen. He is over 4 seconds in front of Ivanov, and I think for Savini, the only thing for him left to do is to take the fastest lap of the race here. With fresher tyres now and maybe lower fuel loads, might be able to get it done. Although the fastest lap of the race was a 1:30.542, so not too far off their quali times then. Of course, in qualifying they would have been running lower fuel than they are now. That's Barth into the pits now for his mandatory stop. You can see there, who's that coming out of the pits? I think, oh no, that's stopping. That's looks like that's Cosford and Den now stopping for their pit stops. On board with Fisher now. And we've got Ivanov just in front. Let's see if we can get an onboard from Ivanov as well. There we go, Ivanov just up in front, you can see, and Foch just behind. So we've got a view of all these drivers involved in this battle. This is pretty much the closest battle we've got on track at the moment, with the rest of the drivers still pitting, of course. But we'll definitely see where that mistake from Pagano has been made. Whether is it in the pits, or has he made a mistake out on track? Once everyone has pitted, we will bring up the pit stop times as well, just to show you how much time each driver has spent in the pit lane in total. Jan saying he's held the flag for the AM drivers. You can see how brutal that curb is on the exit there. It's Fisher's car bouncing all over it. Fisher losing some time now to Ivanov. Definitely losing some time. The gap's up to a second between these two, so just outside the optimal slipstream range here. And Ivanov using a lot more of the track on the exit of turn 1. I think carrying a lot more speed, but different line through turn 2. I think he messed up slightly there. The gap's come back down here to 8 tenths. And for the Ferraris, they're going to have to look after their tyres here. Definitely going to have to look after their tyres. I think Savini might be okay, but he doesn't really need to push with the gap he's got to Ivanov, which is actually now down to 3 seconds. He's got some traffic in front of him in the likes of Kosinskas, so that wouldn't be helping whatsoever. So Savini losing a bit of time. No, there we go. Kacinskas lets him through. Now the top two, Demori and Doran into the pits as well. We've still got Seeley and Kacinskas yet to serve their mandatory stops. Looks like this battle's died down ever so slightly, although it's not over yet. But they're not as close as they were before. Now it is a bit of follow the leader here, although Ivanov in well, it will be a net P2 after Seeley serves his mandatory pit stop. Doran Kacinskas into the pits. Doran's out actually. Kacinskas now just into the pits. God, it is quite hard to say fast. I've got to say it slowly. Kacinskas. There we go. We've got it now. But Doran has emerged just behind Dave here. Oh, looks like they're really close, batting for position. Dave up into P10, and he started P12, so he's going 2 positions off the start. And Seeley, is he going long? I'm surprised he still has enough fuel in the car, so maybe overfueled in the first stint on purpose to go long for the first stint. But surely those tyres are going to be absolutely horrible. Is he going to pit now? Yes, he's going to pit now. So there we go. Let's bring up now the pit stop times, just so we can see who's lost time in the pits and who's gained time in the pits. So there we go. Off stop length. So this it shows how much time they've spent in the pit lane from the moment they enter the pits, the moment they cross the pit entry line, till the moment they exit. The moment they cross the pit exit line. So looks like Savini, Ivanov quite close there. Fischer with a great pit stop actually. 60.9 there, so 4/10 quicker than Ivanov. But I've just seen the pit stop from Pagano. Has Pagano served 2 pit stops here? Ah yes, that makes sense. Pagano had a drive-through penalty. That's what his last pit stop would have been. It wouldn't have been a stop, it would have been a drive-through. That's why he's dropped right down the order into P12. In fact, he was further up. He was behind Thomas actually, and he's now down in P12 due to that drive-through penalty. So that's where he lost loads of positions. Looks like Cosford had just made the move. Well, Cosford has stayed ahead of Seeley there after Seeley has served his mandatory pit stop. But we've still got this battle going on. Ivanov has pulled away ever so slightly. Got that second gap now to Fischer behind. Fischer facing some pressure from Foch now. Foch on for a podium this race. Didn't have the best time out at Nürburgring last time. Had a bit of contact with a few other drivers, and also lost the car himself. I think into sector 2 he started to, well, the conditions were quite tricky, and the rear of the car just started to step out, got onto the curb as well, and lost the car. Into the wall he went, and he dropped down quite a few positions as a result. But Foch, look how close he is to the back of Fischer here. Extremely close, these two. Nothing separating them whatsoever. This is going to allow Ivanov to pull away, but remember that the tyres in the Ferrari, not the best. We saw Ivanov not really take care of them at the start, and it's lost loads of time to Savini as we approach the halfway mark of the race. Go onto the brakes now. through the final corner. And now they're definitely losing a bit of time to Ivanov ahead. And Ivanov, however, losing time to Savini. Savini seems to be clear in this race, although the gap is only 4 seconds, which isn't a huge amount if Savini makes a mistake. But we've just never seen Savini make any mistakes really. Last time out, even in the tricky conditions, he was pretty much perfect on track. And in the dry, I think the only thing that will stop him is the track limits, which we've seen a few drivers get drive-throughs for, but I'm sure Savini's going to be quite careful in this race. He doesn't need to push the car. He's in the lead, got a fairly comfortable gap to Ivanov in P2, so just needs to keep it on the black stuff and make sure he brings that P1 home, which will be a good result for him actually. And Fischer as well. I don't think he was expecting to be this high up in this race, considering the BMW is not quick at Valencia, but he's doing a great job at the moment. Fischer has got some serious pace here at Valencia. And that's a curve. It's quite funny how the cars bounce over it. It's quite animated how they do bounce over that curve, but once again, still that gap, 5 tenths, 4 tenths to Fischer in front. It's been quite consistent for the last few laps. He hasn't really been able to get close enough to go for any moves. A little bit of a lift there from Foch. I think, yep, he did invalidate that, so a lift probably not to get a track limit warning. We don't know how many track limit warnings the drivers are running on. That's a bit of a shame. Would be nice to see how many warnings each driver is actually running on, but we don't get that data from ACC. So they could be running on their third and final warning here. They could be on their first. They may not even have any. We just don't know at this point. And now looking at TractionDave and Doran, these two quite close after the pits. Dave pitted earlier than Doran. Doran pitted much later and came out just behind Dave here. A little bit of a squirrely exit there from Doran in the Porsche. And another driver into the pits, Kosinskas. Oh god. He's gonna tell me he's gonna tell me not to read his name anymore after this. He's gonna tell me to call him Onotas afterwards, which is his first name. But I think that's a drive through Benetton. He's dropped right down towards the back of the field, which is a shame there for him. He's running so well, but these two still very close to each other, and it looks like the McLaren there of Dave got a poor exit. Doran right in the back of him here, and I did see the gap between Foch and Fischer. It was down to 3 tenths, but a really good exit out of the final corner from Doran. Dave is probably going to have to go defensive here. The Porsche quicker on the straights than the McLaren, I believe, and he's got the slipstream as well, so that McLaren's going to struggle here. And is Doran going to pull towards the inside? Not yet. He's going to focus on his exit out turn 1 to get a run coming up towards turn 2, and he thinks about having a look down the inside but doesn't go for it. And in the background you can see it is Wittbrook and Pagano after his drive-through penalty is now caught back up to Wittbrook, and he's looking for a move here. We've got a couple battles going on here, and looking at the gap between Foch and Fischer once again, it is down to 3 tenths. Looks like they got a back marker in the way there. I believe that is Cook just moving out the way, and Turonen as well. Cook actually ahead of Turonen now. Looks like he got that move done in the pit stop, but look how close Foch is on the back of Fischer. Surely this move is inevitable, but where can he get it done on circuit? Turn 1, he seems to lose a bit of time. Maybe he can get it done. He's super close now. The slipstream is going to be, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but it's definitely going to help him. Maybe he wants to lift off just before the corner, or he can use a bit of a slingshot to make a move into turn 3. He's not going to send it down the inside though. And Fischer taking a slightly narrower line into turn 2 compared to Foch. Let's quickly go back to this battle between Doran and Dave, which we're going to have to bring up on our secondary screen. Where are they? They're side by side coming in towards turn 1. Who's going to get this done? Doran on the inside, sorry, Dave on the outside, and it's super close between the two, and Dave slightly wide, then Doran has got the move done. So a mistake from Dave there. There wasn't really much room there. It's so difficult to go side by side in towards turn 1, just because how quick the corner is. And of course you can use all of that runoff on the exit, but Dave a bit too wide there on the exit, and that did compromise his position. So down a position goes Dave, and Doran has got that done. And while those two battle, you can see Whitbread and Pagano catching up to them quite quickly here. Once again, Foch with a good exit out the final corner, but is it going to be enough? Can he get alongside? Coming into towards turn 1, Cook into the pits now as well. So let's just confirm, it was a drive-through penalty for Kusinskas. I think it's going to be a drive-through penalty for Cook now as well. And a track limits here at Valencia. Not playing nice at all. An all mistake there from onto the curb. That curb really deadly, and looks like Pagano is going to get past. There we go, capitalised on that mistake from Vitwood, and up he goes a position. And Bosch has just been stuck to that rear bumper of Fischer. He hasn't been able to find a way past. It seems like he doesn't have the straight line speed, even in the slipstream, to get the job done into turn 1, maybe even to turn 2 as well. But you need something special here to get past Fischer, because Fischer's not going to leave any doors open for Samir Foch here. And then we've got a few comments coming in. We've got Priya saying, but I have no idea what he's saying. Ferrari cars in a Porsche championship. I have no clue what you said there, Priya. You might need to explain what you mean. Bouncy cars, I understand that bit. Pirov saying, great to see Ivanov up the top end again. Yeah, it's great to see him up the top after a not so great race at Nürburgring for him. But he is ahead of Fischer and Foch currently, and these two are so close at the moment. Foch just can't find a way past yet. Maybe just being a bit patient at the moment. These two, I believe, are in a chat as well, so they won't be working together by any means. But they'll be a bit more respectful with each other on track, I'm sure, especially since they've raced against each other on track in many other esports series. So a lot of these top guys have done so as well, so they definitely have a lot of respect for each other on track. Looks like Demori P6 currently quite close now to Thomas. These two again inseparable on track, and all very late on the brakes there from Demori. Is he? Yeah, he's missed the apex by a long shot there, and he's lost some time. But these two inseparable on track once again. It's like the Stuart Pryor and Matt Pryor from last season. Both have the same surname, and both always batting for position. But it's now Thomas and Demori. They qualify close to each other. They finish the race close to each other, and yeah, they're quite evenly matched, which is good to see. And they raced in a couple of our championships here at the SimZone, so they'll be battling, I think, throughout the season. Anyways, it looks like Foch has lost a bit of time to Fischer here. That gap now between those two, almost a second. Foch making a slight mistake that last time around. He did a 131.7, and for Fischer it was a 131.3. The leader currently lapping in a 131.1s. Ivanov also matching the leader's times here. So Ivanov, although that gap is about 4.9 seconds, and it has increased slightly since the last time we had a look. It was about 3-something seconds the last time. Ivanov is still lapping very similar times to Savini. And looking down now, we've got this 3-car battle. Dave, Pagano, Vitboot, and in front of Dave is Doran. We saw Doran make that overtake on Dave a few laps ago in towards turn 1, and ever since he's been able to pull nearly a 2-second gap here. Dave's got some defensive work to do now. He's got 2 Ferraris behind him. Now, a bit of oversteer on the exit there. Doesn't look like that McLaren like the curb, and that's Pagano sending it down the inside there. Bit of a touch between the two, but Dave left him the room, and he's going to get it done as well. Flashing lights there from Dave. Just looked to be a bit of hard racing between the two. Pagano did have the inside line, and Dave is going to fend off Vitboot. However, he wasn't able to follow Pagano through, so now we are in Dave is in a Ferrari sandwich here. Let's see how long he can hold off Vitboot for. Can even get that position back on Pagano. In terms of lap times, looks like Dave is about 6/10, possibly slower than Pagano and Vitboot. But Vitboot is going to want to get past Dave as soon as possible here. But Dave now following a car in front. It's much easier to follow a car in front when you're in a battle. It really does push you along, and you can follow their lines, follow their braking or their braking points, and it definitely does help. But of course, dirty air is also a factor here. There's not too many fast corners at Valencia. Turn 1, you might feel it, but I think the rest should really be okay. Looking back at Foch now as well. He's caught back up to Fisher, so Foch seems to have the pace to get past, but just nowhere on track to get it done. And bit of a mistake I think there from Fisher. Really sent it into that right-hander. That's where we've seen loads of drivers making mistakes, and that's Dave now defending from Vitboot. You can see how much time these two have lost to Pagano in front. Really struggling to get past now. And because Valencia is quite a nice flowing track, it's difficult to go for a move. Although once you're side by side, you can stay side by side for quite a while on this track. It does bring some good battles, and here we go. Now we're side by side between the two, Dave and Vitboot. And Vitboot looks like he's got the inside line there. Dave, is he going to... Oh, I think there's a bit of contact between the two. No, maybe not. I think that's that exit curb there that Vitboot seems to be struggling with. We saw him lose it earlier on that same exit curve. No, I don't think there was contact between the two, but that move has been completed there by Vitboot. Now he's got to do all that work to catch up to Pagano. Question is, can he actually catch up? Pagano was much further up the field before that drive-through penalty. There might be a bit too much to ask here for Vitboot. Of course, Pagano could easily get another drive-through penalty. Hopefully he doesn't, because that would be pain for him. We got the player saying, let's go Michael. Right, still these two battling for position. Den on the back of Cosford now. Both Ferrari drivers as well. Let's quickly take a look at these two. Looks like Den has caught back up to Cosford. Cosford hasn't actually repaired that damage in the pits, I don't think. Either that, or he's picked up some more damage after the pit stops, but it looks to be the same front splitter damage he's got before he pitted. Sorry. Definitely seems like he's lost a bit of pace due to that damage, whereas Den behind him has got pretty much no damage on his car. That car in pristine condition at the moment, perfect there, even with that livery bias. But no, it is a nice livery. Got some really nice liveries on the track in this championship as well. This battle's still going. We've got Sealy on the back of Mullard now as well. Sealy looking for a way past. I really like the livery on both of these cars actually. Mullard going for a slightly different livery compared to what he had last season. I believe he had a black and sorry, not black, a white and gold livery last season, did Mullard. But staying wide there, sticking to the racing line, but cuts in early there to fend off Seely. Seely here challenging Mullard for this position. He seems to have the pace to get past. That last time from Seely, almost, well, exactly a second quicker than Mullard. So 131.350 from Seely and a 132.350 from Mullard. So Seely has definitely got the pace to get past here, but where can he do it? Looks like Foch still on the back of Fisher as well. They have been inseparable, but this could definitely change things. We've got the traffic in the way now. That's Barth moving well out the way there for the lead cars. Looks like Pryor moving out well out the way as well. So the lead car's not losing any time, and that is Ivanov just up in front. So Ivanov still there, 1.3 seconds in front, and I think he's starting to lose a bit of time now. That last lap at 131.807, so 3/10 slower than Fisher, 4/10 slower than Samir Foch, so he's definitely losing some time. You can see a bit of oversteer on the exit there from Ivanov. I think the tyres starting to play an effect now for Ivanov. Maybe pushing a bit too hard and being a bit too hard on the tyres here. He's definitely catching up now. We're going to have to take another look at this battle between... Do we go for the battle between Mullard and Seely, or do we go between Cosford and Den? I don't know. Let's go between Mullard and Seely for now. I do have to keep putting this side by side because we don't have the mini screen at the moment. But actually, oh no, now I regret that, because Cosford and Den are just 2/10 apart. So I wish we had a third screen here, but we don't. So this is what we have to make do with two. Force just 2/10 behind Fisher, and he's been in this position so many times. But going towards turn one, he just doesn't get the exit out of turn one to send it up towards the inside into turn two. But look how close he is on the exit there. Super close. But just nowhere to go really, nowhere to overtake there. Or either that, or he's leaving it to the last few laps to go for an overtake. But I think in the first sector, or towards the final sector, Foch seemed to be quicker than Fisher. But then coming into this middle sector, Fisher seemed to pull away ever so slightly, maybe by a 10th or two. But however, overall, the last lap, Foch was about a 10th quicker. You can see here the gap's gone back up to 3/10. Look how close he is once again, in onto the brakes here. And on the exit as well, he's stuck with him, still 3/10, maybe down to, nope, back up to 3. I was going to say down to 2, but it doesn't look like it. Once again, they're losing time to Ivanov now. I think they are slightly battling, although not too hard. They are battling, and look how close Seely is to the back of Mullard here. He hasn't been able to get this move done. Cosford still ahead of Patrick Den as well. Seely, is he going to try for a move in? No, he seems to go for a different line. I think he tries to focus on the exit, but is it going to give him enough of a run? No, it's not. Not going to give him enough of a run. I think he went a bit too deep on the brakes there, did Seely. Since gas now on the back of Turonen, Barth on the back of Pryor, Den on the back of Cosford, Seely on the back of Mullard, Bosch on the back of Fisher. Why does everyone seem to battle in the last few minutes of the race? And I just have no idea who to look at. If it was at the beginning or in the middle of the race, when everyone served their pit stops, perfect, because then I can flick through everyone. Now I want to focus on the battle for the podium, and then I've got to flick through the other battles as well. There's so much going on at the moment, I don't know who to look at. Let's have a look at this battle now between Cosford and Den as well. So we need to have a look at this battle. In fact, it's even closer than we imagined. They're side by side now. Den on the outside, Cosford on the inside here. Ends off the inside, going in towards the final corner. But Cosford in a bit of trouble here towards the end of this race, and looks like they are extremely close. Den's looking ever so slightly just to gauge where he's at. Can he get it done in towards turn 2? He's not going to. He's going to stick towards the usual racing line there. into turn 2. It goes to show how far ahead the leaders are at this stage in the race. But Den and Cosford glued to each other at the moment. Barth and Pryor, I think we're going to quickly have to go to them as well. Let's see if we can flick through like this. Not exactly what I wanted to do, but Pryor down the inside there. Oh, actually fending off Barth, but Pryor is still ahead. And that's one of the race leaders coming through now. I believe that is Thomas or Vining coming through. One of the two. They've got the same livery and the same car, so it doesn't help. But it's definitely one of the two, if that helps. But Pryor and Barth still batting for position. I think Pryor in a bit of trouble here. Usually Pryor would be much further up the field, but he's been struggling here in this Lamborghini, and he's been battling with Barth. So these two quite even on pace. I think for Pryor, maybe this isn't one of his best tracks. He said himself he had more pace in the Lamborghini, so it does make me think that he's not really liking this track too much, Valencia. Or he just hasn't got used to it yet. Of course, it hasn't been out for that long. Barth now challenging for a position, taking a slightly different line there. Pryor, I think, thinking about going defensive, making sure not to open up the door too much. But overstay on the exit there from Barth. Let's go back to that battle between Osford and Den. There's been no position changes between those two. There's been no position changes between Seeley and Mullard as well. And a bit of overstay on the exit for Seeley. But there's not been many position changes. Pretty much been just follow me here. Oh, the car in front. Oh no, Cosford and Den are changing positions. Looks like Doran's to the pits. He's got a drive-through penalty there. I think he's got a drive-through penalty. Yes, he has. And where have these two gone? Oh, now Mullard's going defensive here, coming up towards turn 1. Why does it all happen at once? Why does it all happen at once? Mullard on the inside there. Can he move back over to the racing line? He can just about. And Seeley got a good exit out of turn 1. He's going to have the inside for turn 2. Surely he's going to go for this. No, Mullard covers the door. Deep on the brakes on the inside. Seeley's going to have the better exit, but nowhere to go. Mullard covered off that switchback. And great defensive driving there from him. Seeley had such a great opportunity to get past. And we are pretty much onto the final lap of this race. And there we go. Savini crosses the finish in P1. They're 6.7 seconds ahead of Ivanov. Finishes P2. Fisher P3. And what a battle we had between Fisher and Foch, who finishes in P4. Demori is going to cross the line in P5. Thomas is going to cross the line in P6. And this time I definitely wasn't distracted by the tyres, figuring out if they're on wets or slicks. But Magazi's going to round the final corner and he's going to finish P7. Looks like Pryor finished ahead of Barth. Seeley is still behind Mullard, but Magazi's going to cross the line in P7. There we go, crosses the finish line. Vining in P8. Pagano in P9. Vitwood is going to finish in P10. Dave in P11 here. A good result there from Dave. Only one position gain from the start, but still positive result there from him. Mullard's going to finish in P12. Also only one position gain from the start. Seeley has worked his way back through the field. Damage limitation there from him. He started P9, has finished P13 after, well, starting P9, dropping down towards the back of the field, ending back into P13. But that's pretty much it for this race. Then we've got Cosford P15 and Den P16, but P1 Savini, P2 Ivanov and P3 Fisher. We'll be back for some interviews, so make sure to stick with us. Right, so we are going to try and get some interviews with the podium then. We will bring over Daniel Savini now. What a race. Another good result from you. Put it on pole again this time. The Porsche worked really well for you here at Valencia. Nearly into the 129s as well. That was quite impressive. But yeah, you pulled away from Ivanov in P2. Actually stuck with you at the start of the race. I think maybe he was a bit too aggressive on the tyres at the start, but after that, pretty much pulled away and didn't really have any challenge. I think apart from navigating back through the back markers.
Hello everybody. Thank you for the interview. Yeah, from the last update of ACC, I think tire wear has been such a big thing. You need to be careful on the tires, especially in the first laps. And so I did. I tried my best. Yeah, it was pretty nice. I'm actually pretty impressed by myself because I have COVID since yesterday, and
Oh, wow.
I don't feel so good, and yeah, so I decided to race anyway, and yeah, I'm happy about this.
Yeah, it was worth it, but get well soon, of course. But yeah, it was definitely worth it then in the end. Doing the race,
definitely worth it.
Finishing P1. But yeah, like you said, you managed the tyres at the start, and I think that helped you in the long run because Ivanov, the Ferrari behind you, was quite aggressive at the start on the tyres. Was able to stick with you, but then towards the end of the first stint, he was losing lots of time. So yeah, it definitely worked out managing the tyres at the start. Now, next round we have Kyalami. How are you feeling?
Yeah, Kyalami. I think it's a good track for my car. So I actually also like it. So let's see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we hope you can get a good result again. Then I think.
Hopefully without COVID.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh well, I think you're going. Oh, you'll be into the lead of the championship, I think, into the next round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because Fischer finished in P3, so it'll be quite close. But still, you'll be into the lead of the championship then. But congrats on the result, and we will see you for the next round at Kyalami.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Yep, see ya. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we'll get any more interviews with anyone, but that is it. We will be back live on Sunday for the console championships now, actually. But until then, it is good night.